Hey,
Hey, good morning.
good morning. It's Wednesday.
That means it's Hot Topics. Hey.
Gets me going. I love that. And
Yeah.
like drum beating and everything doesn't get you going. Like, I don't know what would.
Maybe a really stiff coffee.
So happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
How are you?
It's Wednesday. I can't remember. Remember, if you joined us on Monday, I just want to get through this week. Today is a better day, but I don't like this week, so we're writing it off.
Exactly. But you know what? So far, fingers crossed, our internet's okay. Went Monday morning.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. Was not good, but that's okay. We're here.
Yay. So what's happening? What's happening with you? I didn't talk to you really yesterday.
I know, weird. So I don't know if for those of you who watched on Monday, if you didn't, go back and take a look. But I was talking about my clients who wanted to launch, and we were talking about the fact that their show notes when I woke up or when I went to look at them on Sunday night were not exactly what we had originally talked about. So we kind of went down a different road. But I wanted to give you an update on their launch because we did move forward. We got everything updated on Monday, all the show notes ready to go. And for the first time, so typically I've helped a lot of clients launch podcasts. Like I've done it for the last couple of years. Always on the day before, I always give myself some time because there's always a tech hiccup.
Yes.
Always. Something happens with Apple, something happens over here on Google. Like somehow, some way, there's always a directory that always just doesn't feed the or doesn't respond to the RSS feed.
Right.
No problem. So same thing, Monday morning, I wake up and I update everything and I look at it around noon and everything's good. It was like the first time ever. So I don't know, somehow it was like we were having a bad internet day. So I don't know whether the podcast gods felt bad for me, but everything was good. So I gave them the green light because I never say you're not allowed to launch until I give you the green light.
Yeah.
Which is just my double, triple check. I have systems. That's what I do. So I just want to double check everything, make sure it's good on all the directories I search. I go to another computer. I look, all tickety boo. I give them the green light. And then the exciting part happens. So I don't know about you, but I love seeing other people succeed. Like I love seeing the success. So we had a big conversation. I gave them my launch strategy, told them what to do. They were a little hesitant. They're like, are you sure this is going to work? And I'm like, trust me, this is what I do. I've been doing this a while. And Tuesday morning, we wake up to an incredible, so get this. So I want to make sure I get this right. So I'm going to look at this other screen. I sent them 3 screenshots. So first of all, they launched, let me go to the bottom here. They launched so first they ended up in the new shows. Cool. So new and noteworthy is a really big place to launch into for iTunes because if somebody's looking for a new show, that's where they're going to go. Yeah. So you want to get into the new shows. So boom, they're there, like the top of the new shows. I was like, yes. So then the other category, the other place where you can sort of show up is the top shows in your category.
Right.
They're there. And there's only like 20 top shows in a category.
Right. What's their category?
Their category was entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So they launched into that one. So with podcast categories, there is sort of bigger categories. So their bigger category would have been business. Right. And then their subcategory is entrepreneurship. So they're in the top shows in entrepreneurship, which is amazing. And he was looking for the show. Incredible. But what was even better than that was the fact that they launched number 56.
Wow.
Like that's amazing. Number 56. Yeah. So they got like everything, like not top show, new shows, and number 56 on the iTunes charts.
Now, so did they have a big list that they launched out to?
Interesting, because they actually didn't launch to their list until Tuesday.
Right.
This was already Tuesday. So what I got them to do was a pre-launch.
Right.
So people that were like in their Facebook groups or inner circle or friends on Facebook or whatever the case may be, but not publicly to their list yet. So I haven't checked this morning to see if they've gone up. So I'm really excited, very, very happy. Congratulations. This is what happens when you follow a system.
Right.
You follow the person who knows, okay, a little bit of a plug for myself. I told them what to do. They listened.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, and the truth
fun.
is, for those of you who are listening, and so you're like, I would love for you to work, but I just can't afford somebody to do it for me. I get it. I mean, that's understandable. But you can, and that's why we put together GIA, right? We put the Global Impact Accelerator together so that for very little price, you can actually go through Stacey's entire podcast system. So you don't need to hire her. You can actually go right through the system by yourself and just follow the steps and go ahead and launch. So for those of you that say, oh, it's easy, because I know you're watching and you're going, oh, easy to say when somebody's doing it for you. But You know what? No, you're just following steps. So you can do it by yourself if you follow the steps. So another plug, just go ahead, go to Join GIA Global Impact Accelerator. You can find it from all of our links on Mastermind City. But if you've ever thought about it, then it's a great opportunity to be able to say, okay, let me go and launch it properly instead of just, when we podcast first came out, everyone was like, I don't know what to do. Let's just push a bunch of buttons.
And I will say, like, what I walked them through and what I told them to do is exactly what I've done for my own podcast. And it's what I teach in GIA. And it's actually very difficult because I've seen, like, somebody contacted me about helping them with their podcast. They did not go with me. I'm good.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the perfect fit for everybody. And then I saw her launch.
Right.
And it's not,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's
hard. It's hard to watch.
I mean, I've said this. We've said this over and over again. I've done, I did everything by myself when I first started, and that's because there wasn't a lot of information out there. If I was starting online digital world today, I would absolutely just grab a couple of really fabulous programs and learn it and go ahead and launch, because the volume of months and years it took me to learn everything, I could have literally drilled down to a couple of weeks by following somebody else's system and program. So
absolutely. And
I can't say it enough. Like, and even Stacey and I, so we have Global Impact Accelerator, and it covers everything. It covers, podcasts and video and speaking and messaging and digital products. It covers everything. However, we still buy programs. Mm-hmm. We still buy programs, and we see a program that we don't know something about, we buy it so that we can learn it very quickly and we can share it with our community as well. But don't kid yourself. We never stop, right? We're always
continue learning.
So think about that. That's really important. It's important to continually to look at learning a new skill set, right?
Well, absolutely. And I also think, launch and with our GIA program, at the end of each sort of section, one module is launch, because it's not okay to put all of your time, all of your effort into doing something and then not implement it.
Right.
And not, do it successfully. Like, I would feel horrible if these guys we spent a lot of time getting everything ready, just right, music intro, just right. They recorded episodes. It was all good and they loved it. And then to just kind of, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I have a podcast.
Yeah.
Right? It's not, you want to do it. You want to launch in the right way because you want other people to find you. You want to go big, in my opinion. You want to launch big, and they did. And I'm really, really excited for them. But you're right. Following a system is very helpful, especially a system I know works. Right. And, they asked a lot of questions, which I was thrilled about. And I'm like, trust me, this works. I've seen it over and over again. I've done it with I know it works.
Right.
I just need you to follow the system. I need you to do, and they did. And then they launched successfully. So I'm really excited for them today.
That's
so
great.
I'm excited to check out the charts today. and see where they're at today, because I'm sure it's going to be even higher.
That's great.
I have high hopes for top 10 for that.
That's great. Well, good. I mean, and you know what? The other thing too, though, to remember as well. So, guys, like, just because if you've launched, you can always relaunch, by the way. But if you've launched and you're not in the top, and it's okay.
No, absolutely.
Because that's all right, because people will find you. You still continue to do the strategy. So for those of you who are watching and going, well, I already launched my podcast, not doing so well. Again, go through the podcast system like we have in Gia, and relaunch your podcast. There's no reason why you can't relaunch it. So
especially if I think the best advice, I had someone come to me and said, I already launched my podcast. It's out there. So, but it wasn't like the launch wasn't as successful as I was hoping it to be. What should I do? And I'm like, stop season 1 and then relaunch season 2. Yeah. And I've had clients who, again, have relaunched season 2 and really more successful, right? Because they've already worked out the kinks. They kind of know what they're doing. Like, the newness is gone. And then they can really talk about what they learned from sort of that first or second or third season.
There's a disconnect because people, for those of you who are launching digital products, right? You're launching any kind of online learning, whether it's a course or a membership. You don't just launch once and then say, oh, it didn't really do what I wanted to do and abandon it, right?
No, exactly.
In the podcast world. So, it was interesting. What was interesting to me is, as I was scrolling through my emails this morning, I saw Marie Forleo, who, I did her B School 100 years ago when the first year it was out, which was a very long time ago.
A long time ago. It's been around for a long time.
Long time. I think we went to New York that year to watch her live one. And there was like, a handful of people. It was like 100 people or something. Anyway, I just saw that, if you've been in her program, every time she relaunches it, you're always in it. And so again, she relaunches it. I don't know if it's once or twice a year. I think maybe it's twice, but I just got the notice and I looked through the modules and nothing's changed. So it's the same modules that she's been doing, but remember that email's going out to people that just got on her list last week. So they've never seen it. A lot of people, it's their first time going through a program. So, just like us, we have programs that are running in the background that people still purchase now that we wrote years ago that are new to them, right? So, we're relaunching the Global Impact Accelerator again in the next 2 weeks with some added, lives. But you could have, bought it last year and told all your friends about it, because I know a lot of people did. But, if you're new on our list in the last week or two, you would have never heard of it. There's people listening now that have never heard of the program, but it's been here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what you have to keep in mind with everything you do, whether it's your podcast or your YouTube channel or, whatever it is that you do. There's every single day is a new opportunity for somebody to become a client. And, I think about it this way. How many times have, in wherever you live, somebody tells you about a restaurant, right? And you go, oh, is that new? And somebody will go, no, it's been there for like 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You never even noticed it, right? So it's the same kind of thing. So new people come into your world every day. So don't think that, you can't relaunch now. You can. And this time, just commit to doing it differently, right?
Exactly. So awesome. Yeah, I was just really excited. And when I get up in the morning, like I said, it was like, oh, can't wait to see. Because I get excited for other people too, right?
Yeah.
Not just your own stuff. And we get excited for our clients. We get excited when they go,
sure.
Here's the digital product that I've just put together. I didn't realize that, like, I always thought it was much harder,
right?
So, it was a lot easier than I expected. Or it's like, oh, wait a minute, I can actually speak without notes. I can actually, like, those are the things that is
why.
I love hearing that.
Or like I always, even when like somebody puts up their first opt-in, their first lead magnet, their first downloadable, you know what I mean? And they thought it was like so hard. And then all of a sudden they put up a PDF and people started downloading it and they're like jumping up and down and freaking out. And now it was free, but who cares? The fact is that people got to know you, right? Just like podcast is really free marketing. So
exactly.
It's, all it takes is you making the commitment to do something and then getting the steps. And again, I can't even say it enough, because Stacey and I, we don't do anything unless, if we're looking at something new, we look at the video walkthrough on YouTube, right? We look at the reviews, we read everything. And then when we see, oh, this is cool, we do it, and then we learn it right away. So it's the same thing. You have the opportunity to do all of this stuff. And that's really why we created Gia. It sounds like it's a Gia plug. It's not, it just came up in the conversation today. But that's why we started it, because we took every single thing that we knew was important to create a personal brand or any type of brand, and we put it in with action steps so that you could actually launch after each one. So when you're in the speaking module, you'll be able to go on stage and speak without notes after you finish it. When you go to the video module, you'll be able to launch your YouTube channel, your Vimeo, whatever, and be very comfortable doing that. You'll be able to launch a digital product, and the list goes on and on. So it's important that you understand that you have the ability. And here's what I find. When, as the old saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Oh, yes.
And when the going gets tough, a lot of people quit. So the trick is to stick with it. So I'm going to tell you a little story about my floor that blends into that, right? So again, you guys know we're working on our studio and the farm, which seems like it's taking forever, and it's only been a month.
Well, you know what, though, when you're talking about, things getting delayed, when the going gets tough, whatever the case may be, but we were up at the farm over the weekend, and somebody came and went, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you've done all of this in just a month."
Yeah.
To us, it's taking forever.
Ever.
We're seeing every little thing, right? It's like every little stroke of the paintbrush. It's like, oh my God, this is taking forever. But for her, she was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe." So
it's amazing.
We're complaining. However, it really has only been a month.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I mean, and it's interesting because so we've been slowly picking away, and it's COVID, and there's not a lot of trades and everything that we've talked about. And there's no supply of product, and I've been trying to find a floor, and it is hard because once you find one, there's no supply, and once you and then if you can find one that you like, right? So then you're kind of like, you get defeated a little bit because you're like, oh, but then I have to pick something I don't like. And with me, I'm very particular on stuff. So I'm not a very good, it's okay. I'm but I have this vision in my head, right?
Yeah. And compromise on the color of the floor was not your strength.
No. So I looked and looked and looked, couldn't find anything and then I found this floor, of course, which was too expensive, but that's what always happens to me. And I'm not looking at the price. It just was a nice floor. Anyways, and you get stuck with this and nothing else measures up, right? Nothing else.
That was the problem, because it's a beautiful, like everything about it. And it was like everything you compared. It was like, well, this one's too yellow and this one's too dark and this one's, it was like Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Too hot, and this one's just right.
Goldilocks and the Three Floors.
Right. So anyways, so I was like, okay, so I and I just want you to guys, what I'm relating this to is exactly what you're doing, whether it's you want to launch your podcast or you want to launch, your speaking career, or you want to launch a website and you get defeated because the inspiration, the work involved, it's just too much, right? Yeah. It's just too much. So I was like, okay, I told Stacey, I sent her a picture the other day, 2 nights ago, and I kind of resigned myself to a floor that I didn't like. And I was like, oh.
That's very positive. I'm like, no, but it'll look great.
Yeah, she was trying to be nice. And everyone else is like, it's good enough. It's good enough. And I'm not really a good enough kind of girl. Like when I have a vision, I need to go to the vision. I know what it looks like. So for you, if you're doing, for example, a website and somebody's helping you and it just doesn't feel like you, then don't do it yet. I know we always say good enough is good enough, which is true. Launch something, but don't give up your vision of what you want it to look like, because eventually it comes through. So I did yesterday, it was my last hurrah because I had to order the floor from this guy, or I wasn't going to get even the one I didn't like, because that's all they had left. And it was my last hurrah. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go look at the store one more time to make this other store to make sure that there's something. Maybe I don't like the floor as much as I do. So I did. And then it got worse because I really liked the floor. But then I called my guy that I liked, and he said, he goes, yeah, there isn't enough, which was the problem in the manufacturers. But he said, but we could have it for you in 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks is good. We don't even have the painting done. So what I'm saying is, you can't give up on what what your vision is, because sometimes you don't know at the last minute something comes through and it makes it work. And I think, Stacy's worked with me a long time, and she knows that I'm, you can't push me on stuff like that, because if I don't feel it, I don't do it. Right. I stopped doing it. And there's something. And then all of a sudden, unfortunately for her, it's in the middle of the night and I text her at 4 a.m. But all of a sudden it comes to me and I'm like, oh, I know what we're doing. So if you're not like there and you don't really love something and you're not sure, then just like walk away for a few days and go, okay, do I really like, what is it what's holding me back, and what do I really love? And for me, I think what was holding me back is I didn't love any of the other floors. So I was waiting for a solution, right? And everything else would have looked good. Don't get me wrong. There's a million floors out there, right? So, and every single one of them would have looked good. Just like, whatever you're thinking about on your podcast, whatever you're thinking about your video, I'm sure it would be good. But there's something about holding out for your real vision. So, you know what I mean? Because that's when you make the connection. So your podcast clients, obviously they got what they were talking about right. I think where they're launched high doesn't mean that they're going to stay there, because you have to make sure that your quality is up there, right?
Yeah.
Whatever they thought of, felt right for them, because if it doesn't feel right for you, it's not going to work.
Well, it was actually interesting. Same clients, they had their VA create their podcast artwork. Mm-hmm. I actually thought it was good. Like I was like, it's fine. Yeah. And literally like a week later, they're like, it just doesn't feel like something I'm proud of. It's not something I feel like I can, like, it was good enough.
Right.
But they literally came to me and said, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to do it myself, because I want to be proud of what this is, because this is not just a social media post.
Right.
That, is going to be seen by a couple hours. This is the beginning of their show. So they wanted to be proud of that. So good enough in some cases is not good enough.
Right.
They wanted it to be really good. And when they did it themselves, they sent to me, she goes, this is what we envisioned. This is what we loved. This is what we wanted in the beginning. So, because originally they were going to launch with good enough.
Right.
And then later change it, and they just couldn't do it. And and I agree 100%. Like, good for them.
When we launched our Mastermind City podcast and Spencer did our artwork, we were like, we couldn't believe it. We were giddy. We were so excited about what the artwork looked like, because we didn't have any vision of it, right? Like, we didn't really know what it was going to look like.
We didn't really give her a lot of direction. We just go do something.
We were like, I don't know, do something fun.
But that's the opportunity you have when you are working with somebody. Is we actually purposely did not give her direction, because we wanted to see what the creative mind instead of, because the one, so funny story. So I had a vision.
Oh yeah, you did. I forgot about that vision. Yikes. Okay.
Yeah. Yikes. Is exactly a good word for that.
Yeah.
So I saw an image that I thought would be fantastic. So I was like, create this similar, but obviously ass on it, blah, 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 our colors, yada, yada. Yeah. I thought it would look fantastic. Like, I was so excited. Then she showed it to me and I'm like, yikes. It was bad.
Yeah.
So then we was pulled back and said, okay, then we're not giving you the direction. What she came up with was fantastic. So same thing with a website. I do agree if you're having somebody do it for you, you want to be proud of the fact that this is like, I want you to go to this site. It looks fantastic. You get excited when it comes together, and that, like, we look at our pages sometimes like, wow, I would love this page, and we love the way it looks. Therefore, we're proud to give you those URLs and send you there and look at this for information and content and information and value. If we just probably did it ourselves, we'd be like, nah.
Yeah.
So sometimes, even though, we do a video and, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not talking about perfection.
No.
Sometimes good enough is not good enough.
Right. I mean, it's good enough. The distinction is very simple. It's good enough if you feel like it represents you. If you're proud enough, it doesn't have to be all the way to bright, but it has to be a representation of you and how you feel. Right. So it's kind of like, today I'm wearing a jean jacket, but I have black underneath. It's kind of like I always have black on every day. Why? Because it's not because it looks good on camera. It's not because it's slimming. It's not because it's because I feel good in the color. I feel good in my jean jacket. I like to wear my jean jacket. I feel good in certain clothes. When you feel good, you it comes off better. So think about, like, I've been on a lot of stages, and most of the times you'll see me in just a black pantsuit because that's easy for me and I'm comfortable and I can talk and I don't worry about my clothes. And I remember talking once and I was wearing something that was not really what I normally wear, and it was a skirt and gray, and I really remember being on that stage feeling like I didn't feel like my best, even though I was, just as good speaking and animated and stuff. I didn't feel the way I normally feel on a stage. And so it's the same when you're talking about your podcast art, or if you're talking about just being, your website, or even a lead magnet often. So how many people, because I coach people, I see a lot of people's stuff. They write a lead magnet, right? They have somebody else do it for them and make it all pretty. And there's two ways it goes. One is you have a really great creative person. And it makes it look way better than you are. No offense, but it's true. But the other is they make it, because you had no input. When you get it, it does not look like you. The words are not the person that I've been coaching. The words are not there, and it doesn't feel right. And even though it's good, I always say, the problem is somebody downloads it and they expect you to be like that. And you're not. And so
it does come through. Like, even I remember somebody asked me for their opinion. Funny you said that about a lead magnet, and they sent it. They had done it through a girl with Fiverr, somebody they hadn't worked with before because the person they normally work with wasn't available.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of all branded the right colors and all the words were there copy, but it had like swirly things and polka dots. And she goes, "It's really pretty." And I said, "But I don't see you as a swirly polka dotty kind of person. Like, that's a personality type." She goes, "You're right. I'm not a swirly polka dot person."
Yeah. She goes, what came out? So here's another interesting plug on Marie. But when Marie Forleo came out, her stuff was all very like girly, right? And so everyone that took her stuff was very, all their pages look the same. I can almost identify a Marie Forleo student by their website, because they're all kind of the same, and they all have like the dots and the whites and this, like they all look that kind of. And it's funny to me because we play with websites all the time. We like to do landing pages and that. Now that we have somebody better, we don't do it as much, but we have no problem. Like, we'll go throw up a website. And I remember trying to do that in the beginning, like fit that mold. And I changed all my colors and did everything. And I did, I had different colors all the time because I was always changing, and I never felt good about it. And it was just like, oh, it doesn't really feel like me. And then I just was like, and most people say, well, have a white website, this. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm a black girl. So I'm just going to like make my website black. Right? Exactly. And that's it. And then I feel good. So you have to, you can't, just because you love something, it doesn't mean it's necessarily the right fit for you. So if you want to be that person, then yeah, absolutely move towards it. And maybe it's something that you've hidden in the past and you didn't want that side of your personality to come out. Awesome. Put that side of your personality out. But you can't, it's kind of like when we do our lives, we're as you guys know, we're live 4 or 5 times a week, and we can't fake who we are that often. Right?
Is what you get. But it's interesting though, because you had a feeling with the floor. You have a feeling when it comes to your website. You felt better about it. So sometimes, even though a lot of people are giving you advice, their opinion, go with white, go with whatever, you had to do what feels right for you.
Right. Because it's something that, so we talk about that, for those of you who took our feng shui class, there's energies, right? And when you see something like, for example, let's take the floor. If I walked in on a daily basis and put that floor in that I really didn't love, okay, and I had to look at it every day, subliminally, subconsciously, however you want to call it, the energy in me would have changed, because every day I would be like, oh, I wish I'd went with the other one. Oh, I wish I waited. Yeah. Right. And so it's the same kind of thing when you're making a website and you're paying somebody to do a website. If it was a little bit off, but you really want to launch, you're just like, okay, it's fine. And then every time you look at it, you're going to say to yourself, oh, I wish I'd done this, maybe later. And then you put it off, because I'll tell you, once you get your website up, very rarely you go look at it.
Later is not. I have to go back and look at my website. So I think that's, we're going to give you a little homework today, and that's to go back and look at your stuff and see how does it bring you joy? Are you proud to send somebody, to your site, to your own brand, anywhere that you're represented online? And if it doesn't, change it.
And the other, on top of that as well is, are you happy with how you present what your messaging is? Like, what do you do? Because a lot of it is forced because you've read it somewhere else. And just so take a little time back. So the one thing about, what we do in Global Impact is we start with a signature message, and we make sure that you've got your messaging right. Don't go be doing podcasts and YouTubes and speaking if you don't have your message right. Right?
Absolutely. And you know what? We do have, if you do want to find out sort of where you're at with different things, go to themastermind.city/AI score. And you can actually do a quiz, and you'll find out sort of where you're at on all the different places. So,
and then some great steps on what you need to do to get it right. So
and that's free. So go take a look at that.
Free, take it and make sure that you really, you're happy with, if somebody asks you what you do and it comes out of your mouth, make sure you're actually happy with what comes out of your mouth, and it's not something that somebody else told you to say.
Exactly. All right. We will see you Friday.
Yeah. And don't forget, Friday Night Tiki Bar. It's free. We have our guest,
Sean Patrick.
And so you don't want to miss it. And it is free. So just go to our community, the mastermindcitycommunity.com. Join us. Watch us on Friday. Grab your drink. Have a fun time. And we'll see you then.
Bye.